What's up, YouTuber person? Yo, I am Gucci here on the server ZombieNation. Here we have a loot guide of sorts. The aim is going from coast to Tisy in one run and one life. I'll go through a couple of my little tips along the way of where I go and why I'm going there. Of course, it does depend on the spawn I get. In this case, I spawned between Bolota and Chernogorsk. If anyone is interested in a different spawn, I'd be happy to provide a guide for that. Obviously, should I survive it. The idea is to accept every spawn. I don't believe in running back to my loot if I die. DayZ is a survival game. Killing your character 10 times to get your preferred spawn doesn't sound like surviving to me. That being said, DayZ is a game. There is no right or wrong way to play. It is pixels after all. A site that we all know and love, the coast. But don't worry, those pixels you once cherished have gone. It's now time to find new loot that you can be scared of losing all over again. My normal start is to go to the closest hospital, fire station, PD and hunting stands. No particular order. It does make sense to loot a few houses to try and find food. Personally, I just want to get at least a decent melee weapon in the form of a fire axe and get to a hospital to get some bandages and tetra. Early on, I am avoiding zombies. We've got the most basic clothing in the game, no melee weapon, no bandages, no tetra, no disinfectant, not even multivitamins, nothing. If you take a few hits, you're going to end up with wound infection. How are we going to get to Tisy if we can't even make it out of Chernogorsk? Because why not? Both fire station and hospital give you the chance to find high insulation clothing, decent inventory slots, NBC clothing, fingers crossed for some ZombieNation jacket and or pants, plus look out for some filters. While checking the hospital, you should find at least 100 slot medical bag along the way and any type of gloves, which has plenty of benefits. Even surgical gloves will mean you can cut up animals without fear and slide down ladders, avoiding potential wound infection. At this early stage, I would suggest picking up more than one medical bag if you can. There is normally a few spawned in the area, not just a hospital, but garages nearby, houses opposite, cars and sheds all spawn medical loot. A second bag would be useful for leaving a stash with some valuable belongings that you don't need to take into a potentially dangerous area. This will also make room in your inventory so you're not messing around playing loot Tetris in a barrack or a tent as someone moves in for an easy kill. Leave a marker for your stash. I advise mixing up your stash spots. A green medical bag can really go undetected in bushes and last between 4 and 8 hours. That way you can easily make it back to your stash after a successful military looting or an unfortunate death, where at least you don't start from scratch. Early on, when you don't have any drinks, a water bottle, a canteen or any way to drink clean water while on the run, it's a good idea to pick up the saline bag and IV start kit. Combine them together and you've got a saline bag IV which will provide you with hydration. Fireworks make a really useful distraction, so I'm always picking them up. Here I'm just trying to get myself to the PD, hoping to find a stab vest. Press vest or ballistic vests are better, but I'm not sure they spawn this far south. I'm pretty sure around Novi onwards they can be found. I'm sure I found one at Berezino before as well. Looking for any ammo, pistols, pistol suppressors, if really lucky a shotgun or a Pioneer. Being a PD, you can also find handcuffs and keys if you're looking to rob someone, or if you find a like-minded individual. If they are really like-minded, you won't even need the keys. Unfortunately, didn't really find anything of use. The ZombieNation red sweater was a bit of a giveaway that someone's been here and probably cleaned the place out. So yeah, not too great, so time to move on. So I wasn't finding too much around town, so now it's time to head below. Going to loot along the way, take out some zombies where I can isolate them and try to get some more food and drinks. Ideally looking to find some multivitamins, very underrated and underused in DayZ. Multivitamins give your immune system 100 strength for the duration of the vitamin, which I believe is 5 minutes. They also stack in 50, so they can last you quite an adventure. This means you can drink potentially dirty water, eat uncooked meat, I'm not sure about human meat, and prevent you from getting wound infection if you get hit by zombies, while the pill is on your screen of course. Often I'll pop one of these vitamins if I see a pack of zombies that I know I cannot avoid. So if things go south, I might get knocked uncon, possibly need to bandage, but at least I won't be grunting around for 10 to 15 minutes. Prevention beats cure. Also, known needs to get rid of some diseases if used early enough. So yeah, with the current apocalypse, you're probably not getting your 5 a day, so make up for it with a multivitamin. So it was time to head on to put my stash somewhere. Again, it's good to try and mix up where you leave your stashes. Apartments are a good choice because most of us know no loot spawns there, but you do need to be smart about it. If you leave a load of doors open and leave a trail of dead zombies outside, then someone's probably going to notice and pay a little closer attention. Whether they find your stash or wait for you to come back from below to looting it for them and hold you at gunpoint while you're there with a bag in your hands messing around with your loot. So yeah, try and be careful where you're putting it. The smaller burned out military car wrecks like this one can have really useful loot, and you don't have to go into a potentially hazardous area to find it, so they're always worth checking out, and there is quite a few of them dotted around the map. I'm sure there's at least 2 to 3 in most towns, so yeah, check them out. So I did find this very unusual early on, going through the apartment seeing almost every door open. It did seem like a player had been through it. DayZ has changed over the last few updates, meaning doors do spawn open, but this apartment looked like it had had a player go through it. So I checked a few rooms just in case I was going to stumble across somebody else's stash, before deciding to drop off some of my essentials, make room in my inventory to avoid that loot Tetris trap, and fuel up for what hopefully should be a short run to get an assault rifle and also some ammo. Overall, that was pretty successful. Every door being open meant I didn't want to hang around for too long. Balota has become a little bit of a sniper hotspot, and my freshy life would probably end with just one well placed 308 shot, let alone anything bigger. I try not to be too predictable and going full loot goblin. If a sniper sees me going into the bottom of the barrack apartment block, they are probably going to assume I'll go upstairs, so maybe they will reposition to get a better shot on that building. By that point I've already changed building. Finding nothing downstairs early on meant I was getting out of there. Snipers will normally have a good view of just a select few buildings, possibly even only one entrance, which could be locked or with a trap behind it. So while it may be tempting to loot every single building in the order you see them in, it is extremely predictable. If you stay there long enough with your head down, someone will spot you. Finding a vest, a bigger bag, gas mask and guns with mags meant that was all I needed, and it was time to get back to the stash. Yep, as you can probably tell, I forgot where I left my stash. I was sure it was this building, but yeah, I obviously didn't pay enough attention. Normally I have a rule of don't leave the stash in the top room, because it's just, again, predictable. It's like when people make a base in the apartment, they end up putting the best loot in the top room because it's normally the safest. Whereas really if you put the best loot in one of the downstairs rooms, people are just going to work on the stairs, try and get to the top when you've just had the best stuff downstairs the whole time. So yeah, I kind of forgot my own rule. I completely bypassed the floor I left my stash on, so I ended up running around 2 or 3 different apartments in a blind panic, thinking my stash had been found, until finding it in the very same building I first ran into. By this point I had enough to move inland. I was going to go to Novoselki on the way, as it's a military similar to the one in Electro that can be very handy. Then normally the plan is hunting stands just above Dubovo, where there is also a hospital. Hopefully find a gun cleaning kit, a better knife, canteen, and crucially some NBC clothing for the trip to Tisy. So yeah, 2 pairs of running shoes and a tinfoil hat. We've been beaten to it, to Novoselki. It was time to move on again. So these bus shelters or bus stops are quite useful. You can often find food here, sewing kits, can openers, all kind of like random useful things. I'm not entirely sure how many there are on the map. There's obviously this one here near Dubovo, there's one in Zelenogorsk, there's one in Novaya, there's one up in like Novo sort of way near the industrial area. So yeah, there is a few, and they do spawn very useful loot, so it's worth having a look at. Nothing too interesting in this part. I end up going to Dubovo, where I didn't really find a lot. Sometimes you can find quite good base building supplies. I do end up finding a locker that could have been useful to leave a stash somewhere. And also some disinfectant on a car. So yeah, don't sleep on the cars. They're worth checking. Now to head to the hunting stands between Dubovo and Mogilevka, hoping to find a gun cleaning kit, some ammo, maybe a sniper rifle with lucky, scope and such. Could really do with a bandage, as we're still stuck with the same rags I spawned in with, and of course hopefully some NBC clothing. I do manage to kill a hind on the way out and then head to Trader to cook the meat. Not going to show all that stuff as it's pretty obvious what happens there. This should be enough food to work up the rest of the map, but normally there is cows along the way if we need some more. Not having too much luck on this run. It started so well and it just felt like I was constantly looting behind someone. I'm going to skip quite a bit out now as I just make my way through Trader, cook food and crack on to Novi, where things do take a bit of an unexpected turn. Next up is pretty obvious. It's the hunting stands and the hospital between Trader and Novi. As expected, it was completely looted, nothing there worth picking up. So we're just going to continue on. Now this is where things do take an unexpected turn and get a little more dramatic. This was a point where I was like, do I have to start this whole video from scratch again? We're just going to let it unfold, but yeah. DayZ is going to DayZ.
Hey mate.
Yo dude.
Wait a second.
Nice.
What are you up to? Can you lower your weapon please? Can you put it away?
I can.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Death before surrender. Everyone has a plan until a gun is aimed at you. Of all the times I've run around Northwest Airfield and Tisy like it was my personal playground, gone to airdrop after airdrop, grown cannabis plants from within the black market trader, and even decorated it while there. I die outside a barn in Novi. I actually give credit to the duo I share my finale with. They could have been boring and just told me F5, but they played a character and were committed to it. Most of us have seen The Walking Dead, where Rick, or whoever the good guy is at the time, meets their future ally facing down the barrel of a gun. Maybe I should have played this out and seen where it was going to go. Likely I'd have kept my life and this run could have continued. Maybe I'd have lost everything. They had the upper hand, I was solo and outnumbered. But that's DayZ. It's setbacks and comebacks. I did run back to my loot and broke my own rule. I was going to continue this journey from this position, but it doesn't sit right with me. Coast to Tisy in one run and one life will happen, while accepting whatever spawn I get. Thank you for watching. Maybe see you at the coast.